Alright guys, it's battle report time again, and we are down at the club. First things first, if I sound a bit nasally, I'm sorry. I have a bit of a cold at the moment, but the show must go on, so I'm going to fight through it and get a game out today. Alright, so as per request by a lot of people on the channel, I have put together 2,000 points of Death Guard. It also incorporates the 1,500 point list that I did a Tactica video on, so this is an extension of that into a bigger points game. So we'll go through what I've got. Alright, leading the army, we've got the Terminator Lord. He's got his sword and combi plasma. He'll be the Warlord with, what's he got again? Arch Contaminator. So that'll, and he'll have the full Garrus helm. So he'll have a 9 and 10 inch bubble of reroll ones and reroll wounds for plague weapons. Alright, going next to him, we've got a Malignant Plague Caster. He'll have Blades of Putrefaction and Miasma of Pestilence. So he'll just be a support character, giving a neg 1 hit and hopefully helping people out in combat. Set 2 HQs, troops, 1, 2, 3 5-man units of Plague Marines. They've all got the Blight Launchers and a Plasma on the champion. Today, due to funny points, I've given each champion a Power Fist. They're not modelled on there, but I'm just going to test it out with the points, and if it goes well, I might model them on there later. So that makes my battalion, 2 HQs and 3 troops. So then if we go to elites, I've got 1, 2 Foul Blightspawn. You all know what they do. Having 2 of them in the last couple of games is just doubled up on the carnage. I may even get a 3rd one. I don't know if that's going too far into cheese land, but hey, it's 40k. Alright, going into fast attack, we've got 1, 2 plague drones. Both got plague spitters on them. Pretty simple. They'll fly around spitting on everything. In the middle, we've got the Myphetic Blight Haulers. They're always armed the same with the Multi-Melter and Rocket. And then that's our fast attack. At the back, for heavy support, we've got 1, 2 Plague Burst Crawlers with the Spitters and the cannon on the back. And then we got the busted out the big fella because it's a big game. So we've got a Land Raider. He's got the Twin Las. He's got the Twin Heavy Bolters, and he's got a Havoc Missile Launcher. I don't know if I'll put anything in that or anything like that. It's purely just long range fire support, and something can jump in it if it needs cover or needs to get somewhere. So that's 2,000 points of Death Guard. When my opponent gets down here, I'll film his list and we'll get to the carnage. Alright guys. Alright guys, my opponent has arrived and he's brought Aeldari along. So Aaron, you want to run me through what you got in your list, mate?
So, running something different is the new Ynnari rules.
So is that what these 3 big guys are?
Yeah, the 3 big guys at the front are the Incarn, big swelly thing, the Vizark.
Yep.
And who's just a useless swords dude.
A useless swords dude?
Oh, he's a bodyguard, but not really a glorified bodyguard. And then Yvain, who's responsible for Bobby G being back.
And just looking sweet.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll go through their rules as we go through the battle, because I'm sure they've all got about 40 each. So what do you got as your troops?
So 2 units of Guardians and a unit of Rangers.
Yep, and they just got their normal guns, nothing special?
Nothing special, no.
Yep, these guys are going to fit on the desert table as well, because they're very deserted out. What do you got up here?
So, because Ynnari are all combat based now, good opportunity to run my Wraith Blades.
Yep, so you got a unit with swords?
Unit with swords, unit with axes.
Yep. Both in a Wave Serpent?
Both in Wave Serpents, yeah.
I won't bother shooting at them because everybody knows that they don't die. What do you got over here?
Shining Spears.
Shining Spears. We were just looking at these 2 as a club we were discussing. They look like giant needles, so we're going to say that these are anti-vaxxers for the Death Guard. That's what they're trying to do here. Alright, and then over here we got 1, 2 Fire Prisms.
Yeah, just for some long range fire support.
And what's the army-wide special rule for these guys? So
basically the army-wide special rule for Ynnari now is as soon as something dies, friend or foe, the entire army benefits from Soul Burst.
Yep.
And that means that if they either fight first in the combat phase or get +1 to hit if they charged.
Alright, beautiful. Alright, we'll roll up a mission and we'll see if these guys can beat the snot out of my Death Guard. Literally. Alright. Alright guys, we've got set up here. The mission is called Beachhead, which means we've got 1... Where is the other one? It's in there somewhere.
Right, smack bang in the building.
There it is. 2, 3 objectives. So the one in ours, if we hold it, is worth 1 point. The one in the middle is worth
2.
And the one in the opponent's is worth 3. Yep, so the further across the board you get, the better off. For deployment, he set up his whole army first. So we've got these guys across here. Everyone's just sitting in a big gun line pretty much. And then I've counter-deployed pretty much very similarly with all my stuff facing off against him. But then I've sneakily put my Land Raider all the way over here as a bit of a, he's going to come popping out and hopefully do something. Now he automatically gets the first turn unless I can steal the initiative, so I'm going to try and do that now. That is the complete opposite of stealing the initiative. So the Aeldari will have their first turn, and hopefully I'll have some models left on the battlefield to strike back with at the end. Alright, we'll get to it. Alright guys, so end of Aeldari turn 1. He's made a push over here to get on this objective and this objective, so he's got good troop control over here. All his shooting aimed at this tank, taking off 3 wounds off it, so disgustingly resilient and demon saves paid off. And then he tried to charge in here with, what are these called?
Shining Spears.
Shining Spears at this same tank, and he rolled a double 1 for the charge, and then I overwatched him killing 3 of them. So that was a bit of an unnecessary, or not, sorry, an unfortunate first turn, but that's alright. He's only lost a couple of models, and I've lost a couple of wounds, so that's pretty even. Alright, we'll get on with Death Guard turn 2 and see if we can't kill some more of these elves. Alright guys, at the end of Death Guard turn 1, we've had some real shooting shenanigans. We'll start over here. The Land Raider's come across here. He killed a heap of Guardians in here with his small arms fire and took 3 wounds off that battle tank over there. So he's done his outflanking manoeuvre. Then over here, the combined firepower of this half shot over here, blew this Wave Serpent away, and then killed half of the unit that was inside. Over here we've taken this Wave Serpent down to 3, and we've created a bit of a bubble going around this way so that when he comes charging in, which he inevitably is going to do, we got flame, 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 flamies for days. Alright, I didn't score any points. Oh yes I did, first strike. So first strike for this turn. So we'll get on to Aeldari turn 2 and see what they can do to my little solid death bubble here. Alright. Alright guys, so the end of Ynnari turn 2. So points wise, we've got 1 and then he's holding this centre one, so that gives him a total of 3 victory points for the end of his turn. Action wise, he shot these 2 tanks here and did very little effect, more due to the lack of hitting and wounding than anything, and then the little bits that got through I managed to save with demon saves and disgustingly resilient. He come over here and shot and speared this guy and took him down to 7. I killed a few of them on the way in, so they're down to 2 guys and one of them's only on 1 wound. Then if we come over here, he surrounded my tank with all his choppy stuff, tying up my 2 Plague Burst rolls, but he only managed to take 2 wounds off them. So it wasn't very successful combat, but he's holding up my front line here and he is getting points for these over here. So we'll get back to you with Death Guard turn 3 and see if I can't get stuck into him. Alright guys, we have the end of the Death Guard turn 2. So I backed my tanks back a bit and reshuffled over, so I scored a point over here. And in the middle here, absolutely obliterated a lot of stuff. So 2 characters, a heap of Wraith Guard and some other stuff, but it was in shooting. So I backed up, used the Foul Blight spawns and all my rerolls and shenanigans of firepower to blow them all off the map. I foolishly charged a bloat drone into this guy and realised that this guy is probably, you know, like Primarch level of badassery in combat, so I got really badly beaten, but that's alright. And then over here in combat, we're still in combat here, I chewed this guy down to 1. So points wise, I'm on 2 and he's on 3, so, oh, the other thing too is the Land Raider's still making its way around here. Shot over there and took that one down to 3, is it?
4 and 9 and 10.
Yep, and then I shot a heap of shots in here and whittled these guys down. So that was the sneaky Land Raider I forget about on the side there. So we'll have his turn 3 and I'll get back to you. Alright guys, end of the turn 3 for the Ynnari. So he's used a combined firepower of 2 Fire Prisms. He's fired over here and I no longer have a Land Raider. He blew it straight out of its socks, just shit everywhere. If we come over to here, he's sat on these objectives again, so he's got 3 more. So he's on a total of 6. So he's ahead on points because I'm only on 2 and he's on 6, so he's in there. Coming over here, these guys punched at each other, done nothing, and the big in-can guy, I think that's what he's called, some sort of avatar, has jumped over here. He took my tank down to 2 wounds, and he took the Foul Blightspawn down to 1. The Foul Blightspawn passed a heap of Disgustingly Resilience and laughed in the god's face. So that's the end of that turn. We'll get back to you with my turn 3 and see if we can't keep killing some space elves. Alright guys, so end of Death Guard turn 3. So there's been some shenanigans going on. So first off, I made a big swing around this way, moving towards the centre. So he had a heap of guys in there, and I've killed them all. So we managed to take the centre objective, and I've got this objective. So I've just scored 3 victory points for this, putting me up to 5, and he's on 6. So I'm only 1 behind now. But as you see, his big avatar guys over here, it was over here, but once I started shooting things over here, it disappeared and reappeared over here. So all my shooting I set up here to do some damage did nothing, and then he reappeared over here and absorbed up all the little warriors that I killed, taking him back up to 7 wounds. So it's some good tricky stuff, but that's how it is. So then we used these to shoot across here, and I blew away one of his fire prisms, reducing his long range firepower finally got out of combat here eating this guy. So he's pretty much only got a couple of models left, but one of them being this thing, it's going to be interesting to see if I can remove it. So that's the end of my turn. We're 1 point behind, so we'll get on with the next turn, starting turn 4s, and see what he does. Alright guys.
So you made extra attack.
Alright guys, end of the Ynnari turn 4. So this thing shot into here and didn't do anything. Over here, this guy come round here and killed all my guys down to 1 guy, so I still managed to hold that objective, and then he also dragged these guys into combat. So he lost a couple of wounds, but he's still on 5. And then he tried to sniper out this guy. So he's on 7 points now, and I'm on 5. So I'll get to my turn 4, and we'll see how we go with all this. Alright guys. Alright guys, so at the end of my turn, I have killed his Avatar of Death over here. So he's dead. The only thing he's got left is this tank, which is on 4 wounds. So I've taken this objective here, I've taken the objective under this building, and I drove over here and flamed them off and took that objective, bumping me up to a total of 13 points because I got Warlord, Linebreaker, First Strike, and a bucket load of objectives. So we've called the game there because all he has left is this, and he's on 6 points. So there's no way you can make a comeback, so that's game. So, what was your man of the match, Aaron? The Incarn. This thing flew around the battlefield, all over the shop, carving things up. How many points did you say it was?
337.
337. I'd say for 337 points, he's well worth it, because my Land Raider was about 300 and something points, and it didn't do half the carnage that thing did. So get one of these in your lists. He's beautifully painted with swirly death around him. The fact that he can absorb wounds, all that sort of stuff, is just brilliant. My man of the match, or men of the match, back to the Foul Blightspawns again. I had 2 of them running around, doing massive damage all over the shop. It was really good. So that's the end of the battle. Hope you've enjoyed it, guys. It was a bit of a whitewash, but that's okay. That happens from time to time. And Death Guard are pretty strong. If you like this, like and subscribe. I'll get back to you.